The 2026 NFL Draft is in the books, and the Patriots selected 9 players over the weekend. So joining us now to talk about how the Pats did is CBS Sports NFL staff writer Tyler Sullivan. Tyler, how are you?
Good, Paula. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you. Thanks for joining us. And how would you grade the Pats draft?
I'd give them a solid B. It's maybe not something you're slapping onto the refrigerator from mom, but still, you're not having it signed. I would say very passable weekend for the New England Patriots. And I want to take you back to Super Bowl 60. What was the big issues for the New England Patriots in that loss to the Seattle Seahawks? One, they struggled to protect Drake May. On the other side of the ball, they struggled to really get after Sam Darnold. They accomplished both of those things with their first 2 picks at the NFL draft, drafting Caleb Lomu, drafting Gabe Akis, an offensive lineman in the first round, an edge rusher in the second round. And as you go through this draft, that was kind of the theme, filling out the roster, filling out depth pieces, and kind of getting ahead of certain things that they're going to have to deal with over the next few years, whether that's aging players on their roster, possibly leaving or retiring. They now have the cupboard full to replace those guys over the next few years. So maybe not anything super flashy, but overall a very solid draft for the New England Patriots.
As you mentioned, they took Caleb Lomu in the first round, that huge offensive tackle out of Utah. How much do you think he helps out the offensive line in front of Drake May in his first year?
So that's going to be the really interesting question, right? You would think that if you draft somebody in the first round, they're immediately going to play that next season. I'm not so sure if that's going to be the case. A lot of things need to get figured out along the offensive line because Lomu, is talented as he is, and obviously he was a first rounder, he was a left tackle throughout his entire collegiate career. And right now, the Patriots, they have their left tackle in Will Campbell. Elliot Wolf saying that Will Campbell is their left tackle over the weekend after making that selection of Lomu. So where does he fit in? Does he move over to the right side with Morgan Moses entering his age 35 season? What does the future hold for him? Even though we're talking about Will Campbell as the starting left tackle, if he starts to struggle, do you put Lomu at left tackle and you move Campbell inside? There's a lot of moving pieces here. So he feels more like a prospect for 2027 and 2028 and beyond, not necessarily for 2026. If they start moving things around, maybe he slots in a little bit better. But to me, this is someone who is wildly talented, but maybe needs a little bit more refining to really step into a starting role maybe next season, not 2026.
It was very gracious of Will Campbell to text him and say, looking forward to working together. I'm sure there's a lot of leeway there. He knows this kid's going to be around for a long time. So they did not take a wide receiver. How much more likely is it that they swing a deal for a wide receiver?
I think that is the story of the NFL draft for the New England Patriots because they do need a wide receiver. I talked about some of the things that we saw or didn't see in that Super Bowl. One of them was that they really needed a star pass catcher. They did not have one in that loss to the Seattle Seahawks. And there is a guy by the name of A.J. Brown that is the talk of New England as to whether or not he is going to be a member of the Patriots in 2026. And the fact that they did not take a wide receiver in this draft, and more importantly, you saw in that first round the Philadelphia Eagles take a first-round wide receiver in Paula Ebben. You can kind of read the tea leaves here and say, okay, there does seem to be an A.J. Brown trade looming. And I think if you're a New England Patriots fan, you've been monitoring this situation, you'd say, okay, why hasn't this happened already? And I'm here to tell you it's strictly financial. The reason why A.J. Brown has not been traded to the Patriots, or any team for that matter, is that the Philadelphia Eagles need to wait until June 1st to make this trade simply because it makes sense for their financial books. Instead of having to pay a $40 million cap hit for this upcoming season, if they trade him after that threshold, they can split it over 2 years. Just makes it a little bit easier for that organization to get their books in order. But it does feel like A.J. Brown will be a New England Patriot post that threshold. So again, they didn't draft a wide receiver. The Philadelphia Eagles did in the first round. It does feel like that's happening later this summer.
A.J. Brown, just a matter of time. All right, CBS Sports NFL staff writer Tyler Sullivan, thanks so much for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.